sure. So anyway, so the top left person is unmuted. They give their answer, they give their introduction, and then it kind of goes like the right person, and then the next person, and the next person until everybody's given their answer. And then the ice is broken. The call unmutes, and like you basically get 10 minutes
to like talk,
right? To talk and like see what it's all about. After 10 minutes, the call pauses, and everybody votes to either extend and like keep going, or you like maybe connected really well with somebody, or you're like really interested in somebody's story or whatever their situation is, and you can like hit tap basically, or whatever it is, whatever the button says. And if you mutually tap, then it shares your social information.
So you can like you can talk later.
You can go follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram, or do whatever, right? And it's like kind of like quick, organic, feeling interesting meetups. And that's kind of my thought. And so what worries me though is like how these things just evolve into like people goofing on each other, or people being weird, like all these different.
All of a sudden you see a big old butt on the screen.
And it's like that really sucks, right? And that's why these sites traditionally like just don't really work, I think. So I think like the one is that it's always 4 people. There's no like one-on-one.
Love that.
So it's like even if somebody's goofing around, it's like they're kind of outvoted in a way. And secondly, it's socially validated. Like you sign up with your Instagram or your Facebook or something like has a picture of you and has your name. And
it's not just like a user 105.
It's not like any random email. It's like the same way that like Tinder kind of avoids having a ton of like fake accounts,
right? By
virtue of needing to be connected to a Facebook, and like that just kind of creates. It doesn't eliminate it, but it creates a barrier to it. And there's a conversation starter, so it's not just like immediately 4 people are on the line and like you're just connected in a random call. And there's like dogs barking and babies crying and like people doing the dishes. It's like, no, like everybody's muted, and there's this whole conversation starter phase where it's like you're getting sat down, you're like getting ready to do this whole thing.
Yeah.
And like you kind of get your moment to say your piece instead of just like chaos, right? Because putting 4 people in a video call
like
would be like chaos, right? Without some sort of structure, which is why I say like, let's do this whole kind of phase that happens before that. The other thing is that you can't just hit skip 500 times, because like this was very common on Omegle and chat roulette, is like people would just like hit skip until they saw something interesting. And I don't want that, because then it's just like you're constantly recycling. So it's like, I think the way that you deal with that is it's if you hit skip, you're like timed out for 10 minutes basically. So it's like you can only possibly take one every 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, maybe you have like a 1 or 2 skip.
Mm-hmm. So like you can skip, or you can be like, I need to go. I can't be part of this right now. I don't actually have time for this. Oh, I'm not actually interested in this, which is okay. And you can come back later.
But I like the
skip,
cool down.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I think like now is the time for something like this. Like I don't necessarily think that this is the next like social network by any means, but I think it's just like an interesting enough experiment in connecting people like with new people on the internet. In kind of like an era where like voice and video conferencing is easier and more powerful than ever.
Yeah.
There's like less technical barrier to it. Generally, everybody has a microphone and a webcam now. Yeah. And we live in like a world of like social proof, and people also, I think, in this like coronavirus pandemic environment want to try things that they typically wouldn't do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
So those are some of my thoughts there. Other ideas is like an option to connect locally and meet people in your area, because like that's more fun and you can make like real life friends through something like this. Keywords like rock climbing or pets to meet people with similar interests and to connect with people that like gamer, for example, something where you might meet people that you actually want to talk to. I'm really into this like tap idea to exchange socials at the end. You obviously want people aren't going to use meet.io as like the place to talk forever. Like the ultimate goal is to move people to FaceTime or,
get them to actually have a conversation outside of this.
From a monetization perspective, I think there's only a couple ways to do it. And I've been thinking about this for a while, which is one, which is basically like donations, which is to say that in like, we're trying to encourage social distancing. We're trying to have like a world where people can still function in that world. So it's like a short-term strategy might be that we're just going to call it ad-free and call it free, but we're just going to get money from people that think this is a good idea.
Like Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, though, is I think that you could obviously like have an ad basically that's like on the side of the screen or plays between meets, and like you get kind of a meaningful amount of time there. The other idea is if that doesn't work, if it's like this actually is too intensive to be supported by ads,
Yeah.
and donations like are obviously never going to be profitable. And I think there's like a microtransaction element where people get like 3 taps per day and they can buy more at a cost, or people get 5 meets a day but can purchase more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the idea basically. Meet.io, an
yeah.
app to be connected with 3 people randomly in a structured environment.
Yeah.
Because social distancing sucks and people should be able to meet people.
I think this is a very, very good idea. And I think there's actually a good way to make money.
Yeah.
And I think it's just in a pro version. So when you talked about the other different ways you can connect. So what I like about this is, so a long time ago, I stumbled upon, so kind of in the Omegle era when those first, there was this other one that's not like that, but it was called, I think, chattherapy.com. And the idea was,
yeah, I've heard of this.
Somebody is basically like, this is my problem. And then instead of talking to like a therapist, they could just talk to like another like empathetic human who's like, oh man, that sucks. Yeah, this is some advice I would have, but like really, they're not giving you professional advice. And I remember hopping on and being like, yeah, give advice. And like talking to like 3 or 4 people. And it was like very like nice. I felt like I was like doing something good, like, and I think you're right in the sense that like people, there is an element of Omegle and chat roulette, which is like meeting people in a bar where it's like, I kind of want to just like run into somebody and like something interesting. Like, I just want, something interesting. Right. But I do think that human connection, where you chat next to somebody on an airplane is like a really real thing that a lot of people do. Yeah. Or like,
it's just like part of life.
Yeah.
I don't think you notice it until
it's
not happening, where you aren't.
Your server, kind of sits down and like chats with you for a little bit or whatever. I mean,
the person behind you in line at the grocery store.
Yeah. They make a comment and you kind of, you rap back and forth or whatever. Like, I think that's absolutely. I think the way this works in my mind is it says, hey, get paired with 3 other strangers, have a healthy discussion about anything. And if you enjoy that conversation, you can continue it or take it offline. Yeah. Awesome. Right. So that's like the very clear, like what this is for. And I think people would find out really quickly that like, wow, this is refreshing.
Or it's as refreshing as you make it, like
sure.
If you engage and have fun, then it'll be fun and engaging. If you're like
an
introverted person.
And I really like the setup, which is that like, it's not 1-to-1, which can be really intimidating. This kind of group setting that like leads people into it one at a time. And so you get a good sense of like, all right, this is how these people are going to probably interact. Like this person's loud and this person's quiet. And like, you kind of get that sense. And I think you could kind of fiddle around with like having a break halfway through and doing another round or something like that to like keep the conversation going, or maybe move on to a different topic or whatever. Like there's fun, interesting ways you can kind of mix with that pot. I think you could really easily incorporate toxicity. There's a game called Sea of Thieves that I really like.
Yeah.
And they do a thing where basically like everybody can vote to throw somebody in jail. And they're just like stuck in jail until the other people like vote them out. So if somebody's like being toxic or racist or rude or whatever, then like you just put them in the brigade or whatever, and they're just stuck there, and then they have to like leave the game. So you can do something like that where it's like if it's clear. My guess is that most people would go into this well intentioned, and then you don't have a couple jokers, and they would get flagged out pretty quick. But yeah, I think the way you make money is in basically a pro version where you say, hey, like this is free. You can always meet with strangers. But if you want to meet with people who have similar interests than you, which is what you would want, or people who are regionally close to you, then you pay for the pro version, which is either a monthly service of something cheap, $5 a month or whatever, or you pay to unlock it, almost like a dating service where it's like it's $79.
I like that. I like that a lot actually.
Because in my mind,
there's plenty to do.
Totally
regular old service, but if you like it and this is like a good way to meet people, and you like the experience, then you're naturally going to be saying like, oh, like I'd like to do this with people in my area,
and especially combining those, right? So it's like if I'm a mom and I want to talk to other moms in Utah, so keywords and location, like I could see someone like my wife being like, that would be awesome to like chat with other people about something that I'm going through, and the prompts could also be catered to that,
Totally.
A gamer, in this particular game, whatever, Call of Duty or League of Legends or whatever, like, it'd be fun to like chat it up with somebody like, hey, who's your character? Why? Like, how did you get into the game? And like, just have like a nice little like human interaction.
Totally.
So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.